This video is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock.
Hello and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and more accurately, it's another night in the arena. I finished my stream for the Ikoria release event about 2.5 hours ago, and since then I've been chilling out on the couch taking a short break, but the fact of the matter, my friends, is that if I don't record right here, right now at about 12:30 in the morning, then a video may not get done in time for tomorrow. And having just hit 430 consecutive days with an MTG Arena YouTube original video with a different deck, we're not going to end that streak today. So, while I really do need to go get some sleep after an amazing day, I'm going to show you my favorite deck from the early access event. This is DIMIR Flash. I warned you when I made the video a few days ago that a lot was going to change, that Ikoria was sending a lot of tools. That was not an exaggeration. This deck is one of the oddest Flash decks I have ever played, because this deck has 26 creatures. This is a DIMIR, a blue and black deck with 26 creatures, and still, despite 26 creatures, effective 12 counterspells, as well as what you might consider 4 Doom Blades and 4 bounce spells. This deck is absolutely insane and quite the riot. I'm going to switch it over to this view so I can talk about some cards individually. You do know Spectral Sailor, and it still has a very important role in the deck. And you know Quench, its role is to make people concede on turn 2. We all know that. Cunning Nightbonder is your new blue-black hybrid Flash human rogue. Spells with Flash can't cast... Sorry, long day. 10-hour stream. Video recorded before I did that. Second video now. Like 12-ish hours of content work today. It's going to be rough, but we can do it. Spells with Flash, you cast, cost 1 less to cast, can't be countered. Now, an important note about this card, it is a human rogue, so you cannot mutate onto it. We have 8 mutants in the deck, and you can't mutate onto this card because it is a human. I have a feeling I'm going to get comments about that here and there. Then we have Brazen Borrower, which you know and hate love, I don't know. Mystical Dispute, which I've gone to because blue is definitely one of the best colors. I would say Simic is the best color, but there is no such thing as just Simic. So, as far as best color, blue and green are basically hanging out together all the time. So Mystical Dispute being able to get cast for 1 mana is a big deal. So I'm running that instead of a Sinister Sabotage, which can be a little harder to cast. Sea Dasher Octopus is 2 blue and 1 for a Octopus 2/2 that when it hits the opponent draws a card. But the real key is the Mutate and the Flash. So the Mutate ability in this deck, it's not so much about getting your Sea Dasher Octopus hooked up with a Spectral Sailor and getting in there for cards early. I really use this mostly to mutate on a Dirge Bat and destroy multiple creatures. And I'll show you what I mean. Or destroy a creature. Basically, this is a 2-mana murder if you use it right. So Slither Wisp is black, blue. It's a 3/2 Flash Elemental Nightmare. Whenever you cast another spell that has Flash, you draw a card, and each opponent loses 1 life. This card is the engine and very aggressive tempo play of the deck. It's an absolute monster. But this is an important one. Dirge Bat, you can see I learned how to turn... I had to go into the store and buy the Godzilla promos, if you're wondering, because I couldn't figure them out in the first game of the day. But anyway, this Batra, Dark Destroyer, Dirge Bat, is a 3/3 Flash Flying with a Mutate of 6. Now that Mutate ability is really expensive, but when you mutate it, you destroy target Planeswalker or creature, which is pretty epic. The problem is that very expensive cost, but if you do something along these lines, let me say, you play a Cunning Nightbonder on turn 2, you flash out a Dirge Bat, a 3/3 Flash Flying on turn 3, you untap, and then you mutate a Sea Dasher Octopus, which by the way only costs 1 mana if you have a Nightbonder, onto the Dirge Bat. At instant speed, it triggers the mutate ability of the bat. So you get to destroy target creature, and when you hit something, you draw a card. That's what I mean about this actually being more like a Doomblade. And this may sound like a rare situation, but it isn't too hard to play into, and it makes this card so much better. It makes the Dirge Bat a much better card than you thought. And then Voracious Greatshark, I don't actually think that for Voracious Greatshark is how to play it, but if I'm going to run for Cunning Nightbonder, let's run for Voracious Greatshark. Here in the early access event, it's mostly about having fun, trying new cards, and learning. I don't expect this list to be tuned and broken in its current form, and I don't expect most of the lists that we play to be tuned or broken, although there's a lot of people playing Fires and Adventure with 1 or 2 new cards, and those decks still look as broken as ever, just to be honest. But this was one of the things. I played against Fires so much. Yeah, I swapped to DIMIR Flash and suddenly had a lot of success. The mana base is still 26 land because you just don't run out of gas. It doesn't happen if you draw Slither Wisp or you draw cards off the Octopus or you pump mana into Sailor. There's always stuff to do, it feels like. We just don't fizzle out. So without further ado, after summing up a lot of the new cards, this is the deck I found most impressive from the release event, the early access event sponsored by Wizards of the Coast. Thank you very much to them. And let's dive in. And I know, 800 gems, I don't get to keep them. Let's let this nonsense begin. I'm probably going to keep the video short. I'm very tired, as I'm sure you can understand. So if I get 2 or 3 good games, I think we're going to call it a night. I could really use the rest. This was the greatest day of content creation of my life. Over 15... Almost 1,500 people. I think the screenshot that somebody sent me was like 1,483 as the peak. Came to watch me play, and it wasn't from like a raid from a larger streamer, and it wasn't any kind of like being hosted on some embedded view website. It really was you guys coming out to see me play, and I want to thank the YouTube army. You guys are amazing. The amount of donations and subs was unreal. Kind of crazy. Nearly 500 in donations. 200 subs. I've never felt more like a star. I've never felt more like somebody who might matter in this community. I've never felt like I mattered as much as I did today. Probably in my whole life. So thank you to everybody who came out, and even to those who couldn't make it, you on YouTube who leave me comments and watch my videos. It's I don't know what happened. I can't explain the last few months, but the momentum started growing a little while ago, and I am just amazed to see what's happened. Anyway, so far we're on Spectral Sailor, Nightbonder. Our opponent's going to play Nightbonder. If this resolves, we can no longer counter their spells. So, we have to counter this. I think that the Quench is where we go then. And I'm kind of worried about this, because now my opponent gets to resolve a spell. And I should have played a blue for a Mystical Dispute, but I was planning to play Slither Wisp. Well, we got away with it. They didn't play anything on their turn. Our opponent might be on Sultai Flash. Alright, down to 11. As you see, the clock ticks really fast with this deck, and no instant speed plays that turn. They drop to 9. We're going to move in for the Wisp. Let's hope that if they play something, it's a blue spell, so that Mystical Dispute is functional. I think that Flash decks are going to be a pretty critical part of the metagame. Without them, I have a bad feeling, and I mean a really bad feeling, that Fires and Song of Creation Adventure are just epically broken. That was my experience so far today. Now, this Brazen Borrower is going to be pretty awesome right here. I don't think the opponent's going to beat that. They did a good job resolving that while I was tapped out, but it just didn't matter if we had a way to interact, and we did. With the return of the Ambusher, it's an easy Mystical Dispute, or Quench, doesn't matter. They're a good sport about it. So we'll see you around, Trunks. And yeah, you saw the deck at work, along with a lot of story time. Again, I'm mostly probably going to be nostalgic story time here today. Because it's just been that kind of day, Our opponent is Brad Nelson, one of the greatest Magic players in the world, especially at Standard. Last I knew, Brad was running some kind of a adventure build, but it looks like he switched over to Fires. I'll have you know that I played against and defeated the Dark Lord, Mono Black Magic himself, twice with my 250 card Simic deck. To be fair to Mono Black, for those of you who would want to defend your Dark Lord, yes, he had just logged on and he hadn't really tuned his decks yet. So he has that to fall back on as a thing that happened. Well, if we play this and Teferi bounces it, I guess we just can't do that. We have to quench. So Teferi once again screens for Fires of Invention in an epic way. And that is a big problem. That is a really big problem. I don't know if this Voracious Great Shark's going to be fast enough, but the opponent says go? If we flash in the Slither Wisp, I'm pretty sure it will be removed. So let's drop the Cunning Nightbonder instead. Three blacks don't cast a Great Shark. We definitely have a mana issue, so I think we have to play the Temple. I can attack first and at least get an idea for what Brad is cooking. If you smell what the Nelson is cooking, gamers. Man, if this were an untapped blue, we'd be in such a better spot. But it's not. It's just not. Late. It's late. Black, black, blue, blue, blue. I don't think there's a world where I need this. Alright, Brad, have you got a Bone Crusher Giant? A Brazen Borrower? Sure. It works, and it does cost me mana to redeploy. Is it Fires of Invention time, though? It's a Sphinx of Foresight. Well, I can't do much about it. Life is hard. Let's bring out the Wisp, just to make our opponent drain, and there is a counter. And that's very fortunate, because Brad's going to think we don't have a counter here. But here's that sweet scry. You can't really see it because it's behind my head, but I'll try to make this cat jump. And maybe you can catch a little glimpse. Larian. Well, countering that doesn't do it. I think we just have to dispute it. We could have let the Wisp go, but it's among my best cards, or at least it feels like it is. I don't know how we're going to get through the Sphinx, though, without drawing into a Bat, which is a card we haven't seen yet. Well, that's unfortunate. Just the double Clarion. The double Clarion plan in all its glory. So if we hit the Bonder here, or the Octopus, I should say. Oh wait, we can't mutate. It's a human. That doesn't work. That doesn't work, gamers. But this shark has to carry some weight. Alright, to the bottom. We have seen 2 Clarions. So, we shouldn't be too afraid to commit to the board now. Yep, the Epic Sphinx beating continuing. What else you got? Maybe here comes Kruga? I mean, do you want a 5/4 that draws a card? There's some hovering over that companion. If your starting deck contains only cards with casting cost 3 or greater and lands, and when it enters the battlefield, draw a card for each other permanent you control. It's a fabled passage, and it's a passing of the turn. Well, I think we should hold on to the Great Shark. Let's play other Nightbonder. And let's play our little Octopus. And get some cards moving. Okay, that is a basic swamp, and not what we needed. Brazen Borrower? That's fine. It can't block these creatures. So we're in a close race. Okay, and we're both down to just a couple of cards available. This is gonna get interesting. Another shark. Without the blue mana to play it. That is a tilt, because if I could play both... Oh my gosh. We're one off lethal too. That is just brutal. That is very brutal. So here's the race. Down to 5. Man. 1 blue mana. Are you kidding me? Alright. Not much I can do about that. I'm a little tilted that Brad would be so good at playing around the shark. Alright, so 5-2. It's not gonna do it. I need something to interact with this Sphinx. So we need to scry instead of play the shark. The Wisp. God, that was lethal too. But none of this does it, right? None of this stops the Sphinx and the Borrower. I guess I should have countered the Borrower. Alright, so mutating here doesn't do any good. So we just have to say 2 to the bottom. Try to get lucky. What a tilt. What a tilt. Yeah. That is game. Rematch? Can I be on the play this time? No, I can't be on the play this time. And we have the same swamp problem. Whatever. I'm too tired to fight it. I can't fight it. I just can't fight it right now. We may as well play this because he doesn't run any 2-drops. Nothing like getting whipped around by the MPL at this hour of the night. It's fine though. The best player in Standard. You know, I've been a fan of Brad Nelson's just for a really long time. So when I say things, it sounds nice and like Kappa and sarcastic, but I'll take this beating. Kind of honored. I actually, it's true. I was able to defeat the world champion, Paulo Vito Damaderosa, earlier tonight. So I can't be too mad about that. Overall, good day, right? Very good day. I learned my lesson from before. Let's have all the blue sources available. Let's have blue sources available. Alright, double mystical dispute. Make Brad work for it, you know? Make the guy work for it. So I can't do petty theft and this for 4, so I may as well temple. Alright, sharks. Redeem yourself or die. Redeem yourself or die, Great Shark. Now is the time. Yep. Chomp. Here comes Jaws. Alright, let's bounce that fires. I think the right time to do that would have been on upkeep, to be honest. Okay, Elspeth Conquers Death, hit the shark. Shark Part 2. Now you have to build my deck, Brad. At least that was the theme of his stream before. He was building the deck of the person who could defeat him. Oh. Oh, baby. Oh, it's on. I played him and I was using this deck earlier. Well, we'll see. I don't know what he's up to right now, but we will see. We will see what the great one, LVD, has in store for all of us. YouTuber Showdown. I think I just quenched that. Kind of a tough call. Keeping me busy right away. But like Legend's too strong. The quench wasn't lethal. Too strong. I hope this Great Shark has a frickin' target. It's gonna tilt me pretty hard if it doesn't. I think we gotta say no to that particular card. Bit too powerful. The Everwise can draw an obscene amount of cards if allowed to. An absolutely obscene amount of cards. But we're running low on stuff, and there's still 5 cards over there. Alright, shark 'em. Hit him with the shark. Can't be countered, so even if there's a mystical dispute there, it ain't gonna work on the voracious one. Oh, the wisp. Oh, that's so good too. I could mutate here and draw an extra card now with the octopus. And I would draw a card off the wisp. But I think it's better to make my opponent reactive. I don't know. How aggressive am I supposed to be right here? I think we'll just get this attack in and see what LVD wants to do on his turn. And then bring forth the wisp and the octopus. Wow. Frostveil Ambush, cycling 1. Oh my. Oh my. So it's a cycling Everwise Improbable Alliance thing. The Royal Scions, okay. On their own, they don't interact with my cards. So I'm not afraid of them at this point. Here's a draw and a discard. An island to the graveyard. Alright, well, let's bring you out. If Legend has double shock, that's pretty bad, but we get to draw some sweet cards here. So we'll play this without the mutate to create separate, different threats. We get a drain, and we get this to enter the battlefield, and now we can mutate this on, if we wanted to, we can mutate this in and kill something. Well, we can kill this Planeswalker, that's pretty epic. Let's go in for the lethal attack and see if LVD can stop it. Good game. Oof. Oof. Savage. Poor guy. Best of luck next time. You know, I said I would be out of here quickly, but you always want that one more game. You always want that one last game. Burk. Hopefully I get to show you the bat. You haven't seen the bat really popping off yet. That's what I want to make sure you get to see, if I can. Lures of the Dream Den. Well, that's a companion. Lifelink, 3/2 for 3. Each permanent has to be 2 or less, so we know they're all 2 or less. And then during each of your turns, you may cast a permanent spell with converted mana cost 2 or less from the graveyard. Mystical Dispute is looking bad. It's looking real bad here, gamers. So one thing I've noticed is that there's a lot of reliance on blue mana, but you do need double black for the Slitherwisp. Or not the, yeah, the Slitherwisp. That's the name of it. Still getting to know all these cards. So, I'm not sure what changes you can really make to the deck. Great Shark isn't looking particularly fabulous either against a bunch of 1/1s. Looking a bit slow. But we're going to have the bat next turn. And then if we find an Octopus, you'll get to see Octopus pop off with the bat. And that will be epic. I really wish they'd played a 1/1 on the ground, though. A 1/1 in the air? Please, I can't block that. Brazen Borrower not solid in these spots either. Ooh, Tithe Taker. Ugh. Extra gross. I mean, I'm just busted, right? Alright, well. I guess flash speed this is not. Well, 2 of those is interesting, but not particularly great. As there's a lot of these flash cards have double cost. Because we can't really get around, well, do I attack? I don't think the opponent blocks, but I don't think they can attack if I hold back. Then I guess I just have to play this, right? Let's just make it 3/3 and say go. And again, hopefully, I mean, these cards weren't looking that great anyway to be flashed in, so hopefully we can get our hands on an Octopus. And got a Reader. We know they can't run anything like a Banishing Light, but they might run a Glass Casket. And they can have a Giant Killer, but that's power 4 or greater. So, what is this? I think we just take it. I mean, it's only 1 damage, and now we can attack for 3. If we have that in the graveyard, they can either replay it, or they're cooking up something worse. So this is going to be, what's the card? The flying one. All the flyers get the bonus. You know what I'm talking about. You guys know. So here, on our opponent's turn, we can Petty Theft. What would we Petty Theft? I guess we could bounce the Tithe Taker on end step. Something wings. Man, this is rough. There's nothing about this that feels good. I'll just pass. I know I have to pay more for this now, but I still think it's the right play. Rally with wings. Rally the wings. Rally the wingses. I don't know. I can't remember. But yeah, you don't want to play your Flash deck against aggro. If you guys want to know how to beat Flash, you have to play super low to the ground aggro. And a Tithe Taker is an epic beating. Brad Nelson said in his chat after those last few games, he was like, well, wait till I get my sideboard and I can bring in my Tithe Taker. You know, he's like talking tough. All right, you want to attack me here? No? So we could still flash this in. I think the Borrower makes a lot more sense, though. And what do we get rid of? Let's get rid of the Tithe Taker so the Great Shark can come down. And we can play our flash game like we want to. And we'll keep staring at these creatures. So if the opponent goes for Tithe Taker, we can go Night Bonder and Great Shark. The problem with that is they get the Rally. And the Rally is going to hurt. Also, countering the Tithe Taker, they can play it again. Because they have Lurrus of the Dream Den. But we'll get our Bonder and our Shark on the field first. Okay, we're going tapping. Well, that's something. And the 3/2 attacked? What's the play? We could play another Bonder and a Great Shark and eat it. I think they want to rally, though. Let's try this. Okay, it feels like they're passing turn. All right. I think we're all right with that. I can still Mystical Dispute the Tithe Taker. But I can't Mystical Dispute a Rally now. I don't think they had Rally the way that turn played, actually. Alright, we got rid of the Dream Den and the Tithe Taker. That was making our life awkward. Now, can we draw a frickin' Octopus? No. No, we cannot. So this I'm sure I want to do. If my opponent pays the mana to tap this, that's pretty bad, but we can flash in the Borrower to trade with Atomic, so I think we still want to try to force that. It is hard to get a good Great Shark counter in this format. That or everybody started playing around with it all at the same time. Like everybody plays around my shark. It's so rude. It's so rude. Now remember when they attacked into my creature when it was a 3/3 with a 1/1? That should mean they have Rally, but last turn went as if they didn't. Giant Killer again, okay. Alright, let's bring out Borrower. Trade with Atomic. Down to 10. The clock now isn't very fast, especially if we dispute something here. We would be doing 5, they would be doing 3. Plus we have the shark on deck. Just think I have to play this. Now hopefully they don't have another 1-drop. Are they sitting on a Giant Killer? Maybe that's the play? Oh, a Baby Serpent. Okay. That's something. Does have reach. This isn't multicolored. This is. So this is... It blanks this card. But doesn't blank this card. Which I could still make the opponent pay 2 mana to stop it. And I still need to block this. I guess taxing their mana is good. Racing them here doesn't do anything. Making them pay 2 mana a turn to keep getting him for 2 isn't too scary. Or 3 in the case of the Serpent. But it depends what else they do, right? We can play the Sailor, draw a card, try to get back in the game, find an Octopus, use the Dark Destroyer. If we get rid of the Giant Killer, we're in a much better place. Uh-huh. You got it. Does the opponent attack with the Serpent? No. Okay. Down to 8. Eidolon. Meet the Shark. And meet the Sailor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. But this is an essentially blank, so we don't want to attack with this. So we start attacking for 9. They attack for like 3. I don't know. Seems like a lot can still go wrong. Reach is a problem. Let's not do that. Let's send these. And let the race begin. $13. Land, go. Sailor's gonna try to top deck. I'm still looking. I'm looking for that Mutate Octopus, man. Now would be a great time for it. No question. Alright. The white player has also drawn a lot of lands. This has been an interesting game. Has 2 attacks. Everybody in. Okay. That's suspicious. So first I'm going to draw a card. Let's get some information before we decide on who our blockers are. The opponent could make sure something like a rally resolves right now, but then I would have information about how to block. Okay. So, what is this, an inspired charge? What do they actually have? Because that block seems too good to be true. And this seems pretty darn good too. But we're gonna go for it. It is an inspired charge. Unbelievable. But we had to block or we lost. Do we lose anyway? Yeah, we lose anyway. Just hit the button. Yep. Well, inspired frickin' charge. The one card. Yeah, seems like a pretty decent hand. We'll need a few things to break our way. The opponent has to be kind of slow out of the gates, because we're going temple, so if we get to Mystical Dispute something, we'll feel pretty good. 5th land and it's a castle? Let's not. So they have the Nomad. At the very least, that's a Mystical Dispute target, which means they're playing an 80-card deck to take advantage of the Nomad. It's basically... It's basically 5 mana get Mystical Disputed in this matchup. That's about all you need to know. I'll hang on to the bat. We have the Octopus. So the bat is pretty epic here. Tapland, Grazer. Grazer is gross. Against the Octopus especially, but Slitherwisp won't care too much. So we want to play Wisp into Destroya into Octopus if we don't have anything that we have to counter. To the top. What else you got? Surely you're not doing it nothing here. Let's see if this lives. So far, so good. I'm just going to grab more blue since we need pretty... Like, one thing I've noticed is I might want to tweak the mana base because I need endless blue with this deck. So much blue mana required. You always want to have some blue mana untapped. All the time. Alright, are we going to see what our opponent's deck is all about? They did nothing for 2 turns here, pretty much. Cavalier of Thorns. We could let that resolve and then borrow it, or we could just counter it. Giving the opponent more lands and the cards in the graveyard is probably not great. Especially when you're holding Mystical Disputes as your counterspells and quenches. Giving the opponent land is probably bad. Rewarded, kinda. So we could flash in the Octopus to draw an extra card by dealing damage. I don't like that, because the Octopus, as I've tried to mention a few times, powers the Dark Destroya to be a removal spell. So that's what I'm going to keep trying to set up, but it may take a while. Because we missed a land drop. Yep. So we can quench it or we can dispute it. If we dispute it, we can also play a Borrower. Or an Octopus. But I think the Borrower is better. Actually, this doesn't do anything other than bounce the Grazer. I'm going to dispute it. And I'm going to 3-1 Borrower. Draw a card. You lose a life. Quench City over here. Very tempting to play the Spectral Sailor and try to hit the land drop. Very, very tempting. Our opponent clinging to the Borrower for dear life. Teferi Time Raveler. You don't say. Well, I mean, these quenches just die if I don't use them here. Opponent says go. So, still can't mutate this in to finish the opponent off here. I could try to draw into a Borrower, and that would be lethal. I'll give that a try. Fail. Here's the chump. But we're out of counters. what can our opponent do? They have 6 mana. And they've run me low. Another Teferi. Oh boy, if they have a Wrath, I'm going to be feeling this. But let's flash you in. Okay. Oh yeah, they're at 1, so... They're at 1. All I had to do was play any flash card. For anybody out there picking on me for mistakes I might make or things I don't miss, for every comment Backseat Gaming me on this video, get wrecked. I spent so much time playing, and it's now 2 in the morning. I'm tired. But I hope that you enjoy the content and find it entertaining anyway, even if it is just to pick on me. If that's what brings you happiness and magic, more power to you. I'm here for you. I gotcha. This video is here every day. You choose what to do with it, all right? So, fireside chat about the deck. There's no way that playing 4 Great Sharks is right. I don't think 4 Night Bonders is quite right. This card is okay. This card is okay. Neither one is like the slam dunk. Mystical Dispute, though, and Quench are freaking amazing. Something with this and this, you didn't get to see it shine, but trust me. Just trust me. This, and this. And then these counter spells, all right? And then we have 10 other spots. I'm not sure what's up with those. But, like, this package, like everything right here in the middle, that is pretty darn good. And I bet it will have some kind of influence on the meta coming up, because somebody's got to stop those fires of invention. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And thank you for watching this video. And thank you to everybody who supported me today. It's been an amazing day, an amazing stream. It's an amazing streamer life. So my very best to all of you. Thanks to my sponsors, Cool Stuff Inc., eSports Gold. Remember to use the promo code CGB5. You go to Cool Stuff Inc. to make a purchase. I strongly recommend checking them out. And come out to the Twitch show, which is Monday through Thursday, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I would love to hear from you. All right. Thank you. See you next time. Goodbye.